Well, they changing the law. Used to. There's some exceptions for GPS and whatever. But the new law, you won't even be able to touch your phone for no kind of reason, not even to swipe. It has to be hands-free. It has to be mounted. You can't even be touching it. How am I going to do my live stream balancing on the steering wheel column without it mounted? They're going to make me buy a piece of hardware that I needed to buy anyway. I think it's got to be voice commands and all that other shit. I've avoided voice commands just because I know that they're like getting the fingerprint of our voices, the signature. Which they probably got it now, you know. The whole like speaking to Google search and voice commands, I never wanted to do that. But now there's no point in trying to avoid it or hide from it anymore. You're pretty much going to be on camera. You're pretty much going to have your facial structure, your iris pattern, your fingerprint, your voice, your personality profile. They're pretty much going to have every bit of information to control and track, manipulate, monitor. We're doing it to ourselves. If we just walk away from all these phones, it'd be a whole different world. On the flip side, though, it's like a double-edged sword to technology, because there's so many jobs and workplaces where the phone's able to make everything way more productive. Because you just have so many tools at your fingertips. You've got the GPS at your fingertips, calendars, alarm clocks, stopwatches, a phone, internet search. You know, it's just a smartphone is so many tools in one that people are going to keep using them, but it's also what is pretty much allowed them to track, control, monitor, and learn us. They made a movie a while back where this guy goes to jail not for a crime he committed, but they predicted that he would commit a crime. And now Palantir or whoever they are, they're making social, like a social fingerprint of who you are. I forget what they call it. Your digital aura or something. I forget what they call it. I don't know what they call it. So they're gonna try to predict and they're gonna feed us different information and see how we react to it. And build a profile for how to manipulate and monitor us based on our personality types. Future's gonna be wild. Orwell, hey, what did I say? I got some comments. You're right, Fred. Thank you for that. You know, that's pretty cool. I've got people that like me and people that hate me. It is Friday. Monday is Memorial Day in the United States or Labor Day. I meant to say Labor Day. It's Labor Day, so I got Monday off. Brittany's got Monday off. If the weather does right, we'll go fishing. If it don't, I'll go fishing. Love, no hate. You know, I used to I still do a little bit, but I used to too much. I'd complain about all the negatives. And I saw something that really changed my life. I saw somebody said, if you don't like the world you live in, focus on building the world. I forget how it went. They're like, instead of focusing on destroying the bad, build the good. You know? And can change a lot more by just making positive changes in building than just fussing about things not in your control. But a lot of things are in our control, and people just avoid the responsibility of it by saying, well, I'm only one person, I can't do anything. But all the great people were just one person that was just doing something while no one else was. They said cold front's coming in. They say it's not going to get no more hotter than 85. It's been a hot summer, and I'm glad it's kind of over. We're going into the fall. Like today, I did the pan system we did today. The last time we done it, sweat was just like constantly pouring off of me the whole time I'm working. Everybody's eyes are burning from all the salt in their eyes. But this time, we got rained on a little bit. But it's a cool day, easier to work. It feels like the job's only a fifth as hard when the heat of the summer's gone. Shush it, man. All right. I used to work for Angel Rodriguez up in Cherokee County. You know, a mulch, pine straw business. Sold to landscapers, and that's how he laughed when he typed it in. He typed the J instead of he, G, but they say it with the H sound. I think they say the J with the H sound. I miss him sometimes. Not enough to go back and work up there. Mostly because it's so far away from home. I don't know, 200 miles or so. And I don't like only seeing my family on the weekend or once a month or once every 2 months. I just rather not. And I've never been able to come out on top working in North Georgia. Every time I leave to go make money somewhere else, I come back and my stuff's stolen. So it was pointless. I got the windows rolled up. It ain't even that hot in here. It's got me in a good mood. I saw a few eastern redbud trees and almost bought them. You know, I didn't know too much about them, and I looked them up, and they're great for pollinators. And I think next year, on the borders of my property, I'll probably plant some redbud trees. I already have pine trees on. I never cut the trees on the edge of the property to kind of be like a fence, privacy wall. I don't really cut trees unless I absolutely have to. And it's normally to make room to plant other trees. Because I got plenty of pine trees, but I want some more fruit trees and nut trees. I'm planning for the future after I'm dead. So there's some positive changes that I can make that'll outlive me. The olive trees I planted, they'll outlive me by hundreds, if not thousands of years. So that's something I can do that I've done, and I want to plant some more olive trees in Wheeler County. And of course all the nut trees and fruit trees and everything. But my granddaddy, he only planted, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 tops fruit trees. And then by the time he was an old man, his sons and grandsons ate a lot of fruit with him. Their trees are still making a lot of fruit. Now the peach trees done died of old age and been replaced by, I don't know, 4 or 5 other peach trees, because we would walk from the peach tree to the house and throw the peach seeds out in the field. And from us throwing the peach seeds out in the field, now there's like 4 or 5 different peach trees all on that edge there. That pear tree got huge. And I think it should be cut down maybe knee high, shoulder high, and start over with it. But it produces a lot of pears. And so I was thinking, you know, I've planted 30 peach trees, 7 pecan trees, 5 black walnut trees, 4 plum trees, 5 apple trees, 20 something, almost 30 blueberry bushes, 8 Concord grapevines. Then I've staked up and tended to wild vines to make them fruitful. And so I just can't even imagine how much. I bet you there's going to be a lot of wasp in the future when I'm an old man, because there's gonna be plenty of fruit for them. I bet the bees will be happy. The honey will be happy. I hope I can pass down the knowledge I know of beekeeping to somebody. My daddy wasn't a beekeeper, and my granddaddy wasn't, but my granddaddy's daddy was. And I got back into it. My granddaddy would tell me a lot of stories about when his dad was being a beekeeper. Different ways he would catch swarms and how they'd keep honey and everything. And he said one time a man come over and asked could he have some honey from the bees. And the guy didn't know what he was doing. And the bees got after him and he wanted to let him in the house and he wouldn't do it because I'm not about to let you in the house with all these children in here. You know, we talk about we can't afford to have kids. They live different. We really can't the same kind of way because defects would take our kids from us if we did things the way, like my granddaddy and his brother all the way up until they graduated high school are sharing a bed. That small little house has like 12 kids in it. The government won't let you do that no more. But people used to live like, I don't know, China before it developed. Or I'm talking before World War II, America wasn't a superpower. America was a lot of farmers and loggers until the government squeezed them out of their land and they had to go to the cities for work. And you had all these fewer mega farms instead of everybody having their own farm. And they worked as children. They worked when they were children. I mean, that's mostly, that was a lot of why people had 12 kids. The labor force. To be able to manage that big of an agricultural operation. And I think it made a big difference. They talk about it like it was abuse, but I don't think it really was so much. Maybe some overdone it. But they talk about, that's kind of one thing that was kind of different for the boomers. Not all the boomers. It really depends on where they were living. But, by the time John Quincy Adams is like 12 years old, he's about as educated and as mature as a 30-year-old, Like, we've extended childhood into young adulthood. We've put up, and so you've got all these people, they're getting an education. They're getting an education up until the 12th grade, but they're not getting work ethic education. They're not developing life skills. They're not developing any kind of work skills, really, And I think maybe we're focusing with maybe there needs to be a little bit of priority adjustment in education. And I'm not saying to go send the children into the mines, but banning. One thing about banning child labor is it brought wages up because you shrunk, but then that benefit was never realized really because then we let women into the market, into the workforce, so that lowered wages again. Some of it, there's a lot of socialization happening with the economy that's ruining the economy. People live in the illusion that we're in a free market system, and we're really not. Our money itself is socialistic. Our money is fiat money. And then not only is our money socialistic, centrally planned fiat money, there's also price controls and wage controls. So a lot of times people blame stuff on capitalism and the free market, And it ain't got nothing to do with that. But some of the problem is not really just with the bank. It's not all with the bank. It's not all with the government. Part of it is, I think that there really is a more greedier generation than before. A more selfish generation. A more live for today and not care about the future generation. And this generation has a common saying. You'll hear this generation say this a lot. They'll say, well, I'll be long and gone before that happens. So they pretty much don't care about the future. They figure the consequences will eventually catch up, but they don't care because they think they've planned it just right, and they may have. To be able to reap the biggest benefit ever, to spend the money of the future, to just throw all the debt into future generations. And they might get to just retire and come to the end of their lives right before the payback comes due. And it seems like they don't even care. They don't really care if there's no America to pass down to the next generation because they got it while it was good. The land has so much potential, but the work that we really should be doing, tending to the earth, to the plants and the animals, it's what nobody wants to do. They want to do anything else. Try to control other people. Or just really pursue pleasure, comfort, ease. But we've really neglected our responsibilities. And I can't prove that we have any type of duties or obligations, but I do believe we do. I live as if I do. That's why I'm more conservative. Because you've got a kind of person that believes in every kind of privilege and right, but they don't believe in any kind of duty or responsibility. And I don't believe that at all. I think that maybe everything is meaningless, but I don't know, I just can't live my life like that. I have to have responsibilities to be happy. I have to have a sense of duty and a sense of purpose to be happy. And I don't really mean happy. I mean at peace. Contentment. I don't really mean because there's the highs and lows of happiness and sadness. I don't really mean that. I mean contentment and peace. A sense of well-being, a sense of flourishing, doing well. I have to feel like that what I'm doing serves a purpose higher than myself. And I don't know, I do believe that just like there's time and there's space and there's matter and there's energy, I think that one of the dimensions of reality is this living consciousness. I would say the Spirit of God. That's what I say. And I think that we're all connected, every living organism. In a way, we're like a tool. We have a function, a purpose, and we're part of that big old masterpiece of art that is the creation of the material, living universe. And I think that what a human exists on Earth to do is to be the head of all the living animals and plants and all the living things on Earth. We are the most conscious, the most knowledgeable, the most aware, the most powerful, the most able to save or extinct the species. We have the most power of any living species on Earth. And I think responsibility and duty is bound up in that. I think we do have the authority to be on top of it all. We have the authority to rule over all the animals and all the plants. But the purpose of our rule over life is to nurture it, to be the gardener tending to the vine. We're not meant to destroy it. And I think people have abandoned that purpose, where we are part of nature and we're an organizing principle and workforce in nature to tend to the plants and animals. And we have abandoned this to seek our own glory, our own fame, trying to live forever, trying to fight and control each other, trying to compete with each other for status and power. And it's really not the best life. It's not. The best life is tending to earth. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's part of what I'm supposed to do. Maybe that ain't got nothing to do with what you're supposed to do. But I've always naturally took to wanting to do that. And a lot of different people in my family wanted me to do something else besides that. And the more time that I could spend in nature, the happier I am. The more time I could spend, in a healthy relationship, interacting with my family and with Brittany, and being around plants and animals and taking care of other things, helping other things. Like there was a grasshopper. And on a different day, I might put him on a fish hook to catch fish because I need food. But he's in a 5-gallon bucket of water and he's going to drown. So I could just let him drown, but I'm going to save his life because why not? So I put my hand in the 5-gallon bucket and the grasshopper crawled off onto my hand and I lifted him up out of the bucket and saved him from drowning. And he wanted to stay on my hand for a really long time. I kept trying to let him go off on the porch and he wanted to just hold on to my hand, maybe because he might have been cold since he's cold-blooded and he was in water. He might have wanted to warm up with my hand. But I kind of thought that this grasshopper knew that I saved his life. And I think he was trying to kind of like remember me, like what I smell like who I am, like just kind of, it's like he was almost dead. I just saved his life. He's kind of hanging on to me, And he eventually went off on his way. And so sometimes an elephant will do something like that. And everybody in the comment section will be like, animals are so much better than people. And I'm like, what are you talking about? People help animals and each other and plants out all the time. And put animals on endangered lists and raise millions of dollars and go to school to learn biology and be veterinarians and it's like, yeah, there are people that are cruel, but that's not most people. And it's not just people. There's all kind of animals that'll help other animals out when they don't even have to, but they just do, because why not? And I think that, like, we can't be completely pacifist and all, like we gotta eat, all the living is eating all the living. Somewhere on the food web, somewhere. The fungi is eating our broken down bodies and the broken down trees, and then, the fungi, it'll rot in the soil that the trees eat, we'll eat it, plants eat. If all the animals ate plants, eventually there would be no plants, there would be no air, everything dies, everything would be desert. So you gotta have animals to eat the animals that eat the plants so that it isn't just desert. So let's say everything went vegan, every human, every lion, everything said, okay, I'm gonna be vegan, I've got a heart, I'm not gonna eat these other animals. Well then, Earth would be stripped of vegetation, everything would suffocate and everything would die. And then also, deer would be slow, deer would not be graceful. The pressure of having to run away from lions and having to keep your balance, having to be able to switch direction real quick. This has caused all the clumsy, slow deer to get ate by lions and all the graceful, quicker ones to make it. And then this has also caused a change in the lions. Now the lion's got to be even faster or else he's going to starve. So there's a certain level of competition that adds value to all species on Earth with life. There's also cooperation. There's also room for love and empathy. And if you've got a surplus of power, you can have a surplus of empathy. You can, like if I was completely impoverished and I was completely starving, I would not have the surplus needed to be kind to that grasshopper. I wouldn't have saved that grasshopper's life. I'd have picked him up out of that bucket and ate him because I would have needed those calories. But being that I'm a powerful human being and being that I'm not starving, I have no need to eat the grasshopper. So see, the surplus of power has allowed me to be more kind, to be more empathetic. A frog ain't going to come and save that grasshopper's life. He's going to eat him. A bird's going to eat him. Me, I know how much food I got in my refrigerator. I know I got another paycheck next week. So I'm in a powerful position and I can either just squish every bug I see or they're not really a threat to me. So I can afford to assist them, to aid them. And it's not a situation where for someone to win, someone has to lose. There are scenarios where both parties benefit by cooperating with one another. And that's why the universe has this wonderful thing that sometimes it doesn't seem to make sense, but it all ties together and builds up and improves and helps everything. There is room for love in the universe, and it has a purpose, and it's good. But if you're really in a position to rule, have authority, and have a lot to manage, you realize it's not all like just black and white. Like there is a reason that there must be the line, eat the gazelle. There's a good in it. I gotta go in the store for a second. Spend more than $3 so I don't get that credit charge.